And what's going on, boys? It's your boy Galaxy Strider Jam. That's right, you heard it correctly. I changed my name. It was decided that Wonder Weeb Jam was going to die hard. Decided to name myself Wide Weeb Jam because thanks to you all lovely people who participated in both my polls. Yes, I made two polls. You were all lovely enough to participate, and I thank you graciously. I then decided to just change the name, and it will now officially be, I will officially be known as Galaxy Striders Jam. Now for the following updates. Well, as you can possibly see right now, I have changed my YouTube channel to Galaxy Striders Jam, which means I'm going to be in need of a new intro and a new profile picture. Do not worry, because all of that will be coming shortly. Hopefully, before Christmas, and most definitely. I just want to thank everyone of my 41 subscribers who are still following me, who are still subscribing to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. And remember to please like the video, like my videos, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, your family, your dogs, your sisters, and people. Share this channel with people. Let me get up to 50 subscribers, and then 100, and then more, and then another one. So yeah, please share, subscribe, like, turn on that bell, because as soon as possible I will start uploading videos. I also want to give shout outs to all those 41 subscribers who are still subscribing to me. I want to give shout outs to all the people who participated in my poll. I also want to give shout outs to all the people that are still with me right now, just cause, those who are tolerating me and this YouTube channel. I know how to speak English. I'm pretty sure. So I thank you so much. Okay, you probably, most definitely did not come here to hear me rant on about how my account looks very, very minimal. So I do have a video prepared for you all today, which you will all see later right now. So thank you for this very long looking 40 minutes seconds of updating and thanking and shout outing. Yeah, I'm tired too. Okay, now in today's episode I've got something pretty strange, interesting. I'll leave that up to you guys. Today I've got this idea that I wanted to try out, and I thought it'd be really good if I could just go ahead and talk about it. In this video, we are gonna be talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, we are gonna be talking about the children's card game that I've been playing since year 8. Thank you, James, for, giving me a chance to play alongside you at one point. Thanks a lot. Means a lot. You set me on a course to this possible, despicable moment of my life. Anyway, we are going to be talking about the different main protagonists and how there's a difference between the main protagonists who have a partner and the main protagonists who do not have a partner, and what the heck and why the heck Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh! Decide that if you have a partner, by the end of the episode you are the one who's going to be dueling your partner to the death. Or in Atem's case, get sent back to the spirit world. Or Astral's case, to erase Yuma's memories. Or in Yuya's case, where he is the antagonist / protagonist, and it's not Yuto, Yuri, or Yugo. Okay, kicking things off, I think, okay, maybe not really kicking things off, but I'm going to explain what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a brief summary of all these characters, and with these characters I'm going to explain who they are, what their journey was, and then explain, I guess, the difference between the main characters and what those two main characters bring to the story. Oh, and definitely their powers, because Yu-Gi-Oh! They have different rules when it comes to powers, and it's kind of strange and kind of interesting. Okay, to start this off, we've got these two. What to say about these two? The shorter looking guy, his name's Yugi Moto, and he's supposed to be the main character of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. But he shares this role with a 5,000-year-old and I want to say ancestor. Let me know in the comments, is it ancestor or is it a descendant? Because I don't know if Yugi is a descendant of Yami, but he might be a descendant. Anyway, we have Yugi Moto and his spirit partner, Atem. Or, if we're going by the English dub, thanks a lot for kids, we're going by the English dub, Dark Yugi, or Yami Yugi, because Yami Yugi is known as the unnamed pharaoh for Yu-Gi-Oh! In the anime, he doesn't know who he is, and by season 5, he knows exactly who he is. So Yami Yugi is a 5,000-year-old pharaoh, and if you all watch the dub, he's actually 3,000. But yeah, he's a 5,000-year-old pharaoh who was battling with Zork, from what I remember. He was battling Zork, which it turns out was Bakura's spirit, split personality spirit, which was also a Yami Bakura. Anyway, the necklace they're wearing the same thing, but the necklace they're wearing is called a Millennium Puzzle. And if you want to know anything about Millennium items, I will link that in the description below. Anyway, Yugi solves the Millennium Puzzle because his grandfather, Solomon Moto, went ahead and found them. After solving this puzzle, a great power was unleashed, and the 5,000-year-old spirit of the pharaoh was put into Yugi, let's say. Anyway, this kid is supposed to be a very powerful duelist. They both share the title of King of Games. But between you and me, guys, I don't think Yugi Moto is the actual main protagonist. And I don't think he really is the King of Games, because even though he did defeat Yami, I think he did then become the King of Games after beating Yami or Atem. I don't know. Do you guys prefer the name Yami Yugi, or Atem? And in the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, Yugi does gain a prominent role in the actual movie because he actually is treated like the main character. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. Anyway, onto their decks. Okay, so basically they have a variety of decks, usually based all around their ace monster. But their deck also consists of Gaia stuff, those mythical beast cards, Blackluster Soldier, a bit of that, bit of Blackluster Soldier, definitely Karibo, and who else? Buster Blader. Yes, Buster Blader was included in this, and I'm very happy with that. So now, they also have this ace monster, which in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, an ace monster would be the character's like either most powerful card or their most used cards. But in this case, it's like their favorite card, and that card is the all-powerful, the almighty Black Magician. Other appearances that Yugi and Yami have appeared in was Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time movie, where our three most favorite main protagonists banded together to save the world and the past and the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! From Paradox. But I guess I'll get to that when we get to Yusei, because he doesn't have a partner, but I mean, when we get to him, we will get to Yusei. I guess if you could think about it, I'm thinking 4 or 5 years now since he was in high school still, trying to make friends with Joey and Taya and Tristan and Bakura and Duke. Back then, up until now, I think after Dark-Sided Dimension, he's gone off making his own card games or other games, like he said he would do during the movie. So I think he's gone off and done that, and in a past time, he has also gone and dueled the Judai. Don't question it, I'm calling him Judai. And now we've got our boy, the Slifer Slacker, and his partner, which is actually a dual monster spirit called Yubel. I will not get into who Yubel is too much, but Yubel kinda looks like a demon, right? Yeah, Yubel didn't always look like this. Yubel was actually pretty wholesome until Jaden Yuki, or as I will always refer to him from his Japanese name, as Yuki Judai. And yeah, so basically, Jaden, as a child, he created monster cards because he competed in a tournament made by Kaiba, not Pegasus, by Kaiba, and he won. Out of all the people that were actually in the tournament, Judai won. So what he did was send some cards into space, and during that time, he felt really guilty because as a child, he tried dueling some neighbors. They were all very incapacitated because Yubel would always just bully them to near death. So, and he started hearing voices and getting nightmares because of Yubel. So, Yubel turned evil. Basically. You could understand, solitude and the light of destruction could definitely turn a monster spirit evil. Yes, that happened. And with how amazing Judai really is, the deck he's rocking he always rocks with, from between the manga, between the anime, and how popular it really is in the TCG and OCG. He rocks the powers of the elemental heroes. Sometimes maybe the masked heroes, but that's only when he's in the manga. When he's the Supreme King, he runs the more evil heroes, which are basically just evil versions of the elemental heroes. And one of his favorite cards that he would always have to use would be Winged Kuriboh, Flame Wingman, and last but not least... So, in conclusion, I have thoughts on Judai, because he is one of my favorite characters, and I think he's one of the best. Just because he's got this uncanny ability to have the world's greatest dumb luck on planet Earth. He can talk to dual monster spirits, most notably his Winged Kuriboh and his Neospatians and Neos, because sure. And he's also a legit descendant of a guy called the Supreme King, who is basically his evil version of himself. But he used to be a prince who Yubel was also tasked to protect, and she only became the way she looks now only to actually protect him. And I found that as a very captivating story there. And then the Supreme King's power and Yubel's power all fusioned with with Judai. Literally with the power of polymerization and the script of Yu-Gi-Oh! They fused together and took down literal darkness, which was cool in Season 4, because Season 4 was not dubbed and it was impressive. Moving on from our favorite Slifer Slacker to Satellite's shooting star, Yusei Fudo. The man with a plan, the man that duels with a motorbike. Yes. Card games on motors. The abridged series does it better, but card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles!
Card games on motorcycles.
Crow, did you hear that? Card games on motorcycles!
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card game on motorcycles!
Card games on motorcycles!
Card games on motorcycles!
Oh, would you look at the time? Well, I should probably finish this review. Anyway, Yusei Fudo has the powers of the Crimson Dragon, which can allow him to time travel, can allow him to actually see into the future, and alongside with the Crimson Dragon, when he draws his very specific needed cards, he can! And the power of friendship. Yeah. But then when he meets Antinomy, a guy from the future, I assume, he develops as a character. He develops more as a brother rather than just another duelist, which I think is very impactful, since Antinomy and Yusei have to end up dueling by around the end of the season, and it's kind of beautiful because they're dueling each other at their best, both using Axel Synchro, both with their determination to win and love for each other. And they have to duel before getting sucked by a black hole. And the deck that Yusei runs is a range of junk cards. He doesn't really just use junk cards, but he mainly runs his usual junk synchrons, but he also uses his synchro. Half of his deck is junks, half of his deck is synchros, and half of his extra deck is based on warriors, which are literally named warrior at the end. And then his ace, his most powerful card that he ever uses only when he most certainly has to use it is...
I tune Junk Warrior with my Hyper Synchron in order to Synchro Summon Stardust Dragon!
Let's go high five the sky and feel the flow, because now we've got Yuma Tsukumo and Astral. These two apparently are the same person, or I guess are perceived to be the same person. You see, Yuma Tsukumo and Astral, they have a very strained friendship. At the start, where it's usually a more back and forth, Yuma, you should be listening to Astral, or Astral, shut up, you're not the boss of me, because Yuma sucks as a duelist. He's a horrible duelist until the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Shark gets possessed by number 17, Leviathan Dragon, and the Golden Key pulls out Astral. And one thing you need to know about Yuma Tsukumo is that he can pull things out of his deck and still come up on top. Usually because of Astral, but I'd say it is also due to Yuma's willpower, because Yuma's mindset of never giving up and how he will always get back up no matter what life point he's on. He will rise again and he will win. Honestly, Yuma can be an inspiration, but he can also be an annoying twit. Yeah. And Astral, he's lost all his memories. And the reason why they have this partnership is so that Yuma and Astral can collect 100 number cards, which are Xyz monsters that have the name Number. Throughout the show, they get hella deep. Yuma gets depressed because all his friends are dying in season 2 or 3 or both. He gets hella depressed. Astral sometimes gets killed off. Yuma and Astral, they go Dark Zexal, which is insane. Pretty sure it's like it happened twice. No, wait. There was Dark Zexal and then there was Dark Astral, which is completely different from Dark Mist, which is kind of funny because Dark Mist was a pretty nice villain, as well as Ray. Oh my gosh, Ray. He was a good villain. By around the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Yuma and Astral had to duel for the fate of 3 worlds: Earth, Astral World, and Barium World. See, where Astral is from is Astral World, which is from a different dimension, which makes complete and utter sense. If you think about it, Astral World and Barium World are like Bakugan's Gundalia and Netheum. Yes, I had to reference Bakugan, leave me alone. But yeah, they're basically 2 planets at war with each other. And that is literally what it is. And Yuma and Yuma's father literally bring peace to both Barium and Astral World by the use of children's card games. Yuma's dad never actually is shown to duel because he's dead, but you know, flashbacks and all that. But the will of Kazuma lives on with Yuma, and that shows that inspires everyone else to, you know, feel the flow and never give up. That catchphrase is pretty nice though. I want to say it's better than the Japanese sub, but the Japanese version, but you know, everyone loves the Japanese much more because of how much, I think it was much more deeper than it was in the English dub. Thanks a lot, 4Kids. Like I'm gonna be blaming 4Kids for everything now, aren't I? Now, when it comes to Yuma and Astral, they share a deck. Somewhat. In some sort of way, they share a deck. Where usually it's a whole bunch of random cards because they have no organizational skills. I'm sorry, I just had to point that out. But there are a few archetypes that actually are in there. One of them, probably the most popular, are Gagagas, Zubamas, Gambara, and Go-Go-Go's. Because Yuma is a child. That is literally it. Yuma is a child, so he will have that kind of deck. But then he also uses those childish kind of cards, and then he uses them alongside with his extra deck, which is usually based on rank 4s or his number cards or his most favorite.
And now that I can do a little XC summoning. So here goes.
Rise on up, number 39, Utopia!
Like I said, Yuma runs a deck that is wildly crazy, wildly just weird. But one thing that we don't know about Yuma is that he also has the power of luck. But not in the convention, not in the way that Yusei and Judai would have. So Yuma has the power of Shining Draw, which is a legit thing, where he can generate, in Astral's words, he can generate the very card he needs to draw. This is an appearance that happens when he Zexomorphs all 3 times, and in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexo as a whole, he manages to he manages to Shining Draw into Utopic Future. And yeah, literally this is all I have to say about Yuma. He's a child. He's a terrible duelist, and he backseats as well as little Yugi. And I can't stand it. I don't really like that, because Yugi and Yuma, they had so much potential, but Astral and Atem, they just control the duel in a certain way. In their own way, they control the duel, and that is what I don't like about Yuma. He has the potential, but it's Astral who's dueling, but he's using Yuma's hands, if that makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, boy, I've been waiting to do that. I'm really gonna enjoy this one. In a way, we're actually gonna only talk about 2 characters, but there are 5 boys, or 5 characters that literally link with each other. We're gonna talk about Yuya Sakaki and Zark. Now Zark is a human turned into a legit demon. Like Yubel, he also like Yubel, he was only human until he got turned into a demon. Unlike Yubel, Zark almost destroyed his planet and his world. But Ray and Zark were the last 2 living human beings who survived. And by the power of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Ray split Zark, the 4-dimension dragons, which were Odd Eyes Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Clearwing Synchro Dragon, and Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and herself into 4 different pieces. The 4-dimension dragons all went off into 4 separate dimensions, which were the summoning methods: Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Standard, which was also Pendulum. And Standard, I'm assuming, is literally just, you know, normal summoning and tribute summoning, if you want to think of it that way. So our main two characters were our female lead and our male lead, which are Yuya and Yuzu. Those two, along with, I can do maths. 2, 4, 6, 8, 6 other people. 6 others that had the same faces as each other. And they were the living fragment of Zark and Rei. I can speak. The only reason why the Bracelet Girls exist is so that the Dimension Boys cannot be in the same place as each other. Because the will of Zark lives inside all 4 of these boys. And because it's the will of Zark, he wants to be one again. He wants to be one, he wants to have control and be the strongest and the only duelist to ever live. And he's willing to destroy everything. Yuya, on the other hand, he just wants to make everybody smile. And I really resonate with that, because my whole thing is I want to make people smile. I want everyone to be happy. But we can't have that because this world sucks. I'm calling the world out. I know. Yuya's father disappeared to fight a war, an interdimensional war between a dual academy in another reality. I'm gonna say another reality of Duel Academy. Yes, Duel Academy was evil, guys. And well, the Xyz world, because Heartland City was sent to the drain and completely and utterly destroyed, all in the name of Leo Akaba bringing back his daughter. But if he brought her back, he also brought back Zark again. And they had to fight Zark all over again. And that was an entire thing. Until Reira sacrificed... I want to say he sacrificed his body. He definitely sacrificed his soul to save everyone. But he sacrificed his body and turned himself back into a baby. Which is possible. And apparently Reira turns into a girl, I think, because that makes sense. Yu-Gi-Oh! You need a lot of explaining to do. And the final mission for Yuya by the end of his story is to make Reira smile by dueling his main... his main rival, Reiji. And during his journey, Yuya learns how to use all 4 summoning methods: Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Pendulum, which he created because of Zark. Zark is the reason why Pendulum exists. And yeah, that happens. Not really much to say about this, because Yuya gets possessed by Zark, and Zark uses Yuya's body to try and destroy everything again. And then Yuya, Yuri, Yuto, Yuko, they all work together in that final moment to, beat Reiji. So I'm not saying that Zark is a partner to Yuya, but he is another half to him that count as a partner. Now you could argue that Yuto is a partner, but he doesn't really appear much, and when he does, he only just has conversations with him or tells him, oh, this is Kite's here and we were friends, but something happened because his brother mysteriously died. Oh yeah, we aren't talking about Heart. Yeah. Oh, and Dr. Faker. Yeah, Dr. Faker and Heart didn't die. The deck Yuya runs is very cool. because Yuya, on one hand, Yuya runs a deck that he's inspired from his father, Yusho Sakaki, which is a performer power deck. All funs, all games, all cheerfulness. Then he runs another half of his deck where it's all about him and his pendulum cards, his Stargazer Magicians, his Time Gazers, and then he also runs his Dimension Dragons, because his Dimension Dragons are pretty sweet, and I quite like them too. So I kind of like pendulums. Pendulums have always been my favorite summoning method. I've never really wanted to be a part of it because I honestly had no idea how it worked at first. And then I got taught how to use pendulums. And now I'm very happy. And I'm sad that the master rules limit it only to the extra monster zones. We'll get to the extra monster zones once we reach Lynx. So, yeah. His deck also consists of an evolution to Odd Eyes Dragon, a dragon with 2 different colored eyes, a dragon known as If you're wondering what kind of powers Yuya actually has, well, Yuya's a very different kind of character. Because when he's possessed by Zark, or his emotions or Yuto's emotions get really heightened, they go in this berserk mode state. Rage, an undeniable drive to win at any and all costs, and that basically turns them into an evil version of themselves that they just can't seem to control until either the duel is over or their mind has been put at ease. And it looks pretty scary. I don't know if it is, but I don't know about you, but if I was dueling Yuya and then he starts going rage mode on me, starts pulling out Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, Odd Eyes Raging Dragon on me, I think I might have to surrender before he finishes me off, you know. Like, I do not want to deal with that. I would not want that on my conscience. In any case, Yuya doesn't really have any powers. Just like Yugi or Yuma, his only power just comes from either his deck or from another soul or other being, and it just lives inside him, or it's on him, or it can just appear in during the duel. So, yeah. Welcome to Cyberse. The world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is now here. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains talks about how, duel monsters on surfboards in virtual reality. Because that can exist. Definitely. I mean, SAO's been proven. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Anyway, I'll stop sidetracking. Anyway, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains is about 6 kids, 10, 20 years ago, they got abducted and tested on by, I forgot who. I'm pretty sure it was by the Knights of Hanoi. A group of people who try and control a virtual world called Link Reigns. One of those people was actually our main protagonist, and his name is Yusaku Fujiki, or better known as Playmaker. Sorry, I had to do the voice. I had to. Let me know down in the comments if you can guess who says it in that voice, or at least who says it as close as I could to that character. Because if you guess it right, then I'll be very proud of you. Anyway, the partners of this show is not Yusaku and Soulburner. It is not Playmaker and Soulburner. This is the partnership between Playmaker and I. Playmaker and I definitely have a rocky start. After depression and anxiety and actual PTSD, Playmaker is kept reserved from basically everyone. Kind of not with Kusanagi, just because Kusanagi is actually helping him achieve his goals. And of course, Kusanagi's goals as well. Turns out, spoiler alert to those who aren't watching Reigns, don't want to either, but one of the people who was kidnapped was actually Kusanagi's brother. So they're both trying to find out where Jin is, and from what I remember, he works with I mindlessly. Like, not even his actual like consciousness or network consciousness actually knows what is happening, because he's being taken over by Lightning, another Ignis, which an Ignis is a AI with free will, and that is exactly what I is. I is an Ignis, alongside with 5 others, and funnily enough, these Ignises all resemble all the 6 attributes of a Yu-Gi-Oh monster: fire, water, wind, light, dark, and as Playmaker and I grow closer together as friends, the darker I believe this show gets. Like in season 2, they face in season 1 they face against Revolver, which is the Knights of Hanoi. In season 2, they face off against a guy called Bowman. And by season 2, this is where we actually find out that all the other Ignises survived, because Hanoi is trying to kill the Ignises, but I guess it was unsuccessful. And by season 2 to season 3, by season 2 to the end of season 2, almost all the Ignises have died. They've lived and they've died. They've become the enemy, they've become an ally, and they've all pretty much died by the end of it. In season 3, it gets even darker, because I is so overwhelmed by this, he leaves Playmaker and sets off on a journey to go back to Cyber's world. In Cyber's world, by this time, he's actually stolen a robot, which can make him look human. So now I has a human form, which is pretty incredible. I really loved that. And what was really cool was that he was able to give Robopi, I don't know if it was a consciousness or if he made Robopi less stupid than Robopi actually was. But yeah, Robopi was given a human form too, and they were such a good partnership. I loved it. But what I found infuriating from a dueling standpoint was that I and Yusaku did not have a face-off or have any conversation until they actually did, which was so infuriating, because I's here, but he's also evil. He's actually the antagonist this time, and this goes along with this entire video. Partners end up being your enemy. By the end of the episode, by the end of your Yu-Gi-Oh series, your partner ends up being your enemy in some way, shape, or form, whether it's to save you, to actually harm you, or to teach you some sort of lesson, or to say goodbye. And that's really sad, because Yusaku actually grew up as a character. He learned to make friends, and I believe he learned to make friends through Ai and Kusanagi, because they teased Yusaku about Aoi, and that was funny. Yusaku saved Ai, and Ai saved Yusaku, and that was just great. And what we take away from that lesson, I guess, would be to know that your friends are there with you through to the end. And even so, I wanted to save Playmaker. He saw Playmaker's future. In some future, the world was gonna go into war with AIs or artificial intelligence, and Yusaku was gonna die from that. And that sucked, because that scared Ai by the end of the episode. Spoiler alert! Ai loses, and per Yu-Gi-Oh fashion, he dies. And I love Ai's meaning, because Playmaker gives Ai his name so carelessly, but throughout the entire series, he actually gives it meaning. It means to love. And that really does signify what Ai actually meant to Yusaku. And that was pretty beautiful. But enough of that sappy old, sadness. There is a deck. Well, actually, this deck revolves around all 6 Ignises. The world of Cybers and the world of Link Vrains is different from what we originally know. As you know, the world of Yu-Gi-Oh consists of 5 main monster zones, 5 spells and traps. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, this has been changed. You see, where the field spell is and where the graveyard is, it's been shifted. It went up to put in 2 new zones. Those zones became the pendulum zones. This is where your pendulum monsters can go, but you can keep your 10 spaces for your spells and your monsters. This has also been changed to now work with Link monsters. So there are now 2 extra monster zones that intersect with both playmats, if that makes sense. An extra monster zone left and right. Well, sure, left and right. And your pendulum zones actually go at the end of your spells and traps. Yes, that will infuriate many pendulum users, myself included. It definitely did when I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And now with the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! We now have Rush Dueling, which is a completely different format. I do not believe I will be doing any Rush Dueling videos, because if I do, I would have to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. I can't be bothered. It's boring. I think. I don't know. I only got to episode 2. I was bored. But yeah, the format that we have is, I think, Master Rule 5, where it used to be where you can only summon an extra monster from the extra monster zone with the Master Rule 4. But now with the Master Rule 5, you can have your extra monsters cards summoned in the main monster zones, as long as it's not a Link monster or a Pendulum monster. What do I mean by this? Fusion, Synchro, Ixies, they are allowed to be summoned from the extra deck to the main monster zone. Link monsters and Pendulum monsters, as long as they're in the extra deck, they have to be summoned into the extra monster zone. No joke, no spam, They just gotta. If they don't, well, it's illegal. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but the entire world believes that there is only one ace monster. One true ace monster. And it's so sad because that ace monster isn't the ace monster. The ace monster that I want to talk about was banned. I don't know if it's still banned or not, but it was banned, and that got me mad because now the whole world believes that this other monster is the actual ace monster. And granted, it is, because it was the first monster he summoned. Not really the first, it was the third. It was the first high attack pointed high monster, first actual Link monster Playmaker summoned, but it was also one of 6 many other code talkers. Those being the access codes, the trans, the X code, the shooting code. I said X code twice, didn't I? Oops. I meant encode and shooting code. I'm tired. But also, we also have but Playmaker also summons another monster who I do think is the true ace monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I know my opinion does not matter, but again, it is my opinion. And I believe that this guy is the real ace monster. And with that, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I really hope you all made it this far into the video so I can give shout outs to all of you who have still been here since the beginning of the video. I probably should have ended this video by now, and I will now because gosh, I'm tired and it's late and I really should go to sleep. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please, if you can hit the like, the subscribe, the bell, and if you share this video with all your friends and family, that would be very much appreciated. I'm gonna try and elevate myself and this channel to be the greatest channel in the galaxy. Thank you all for watching, guys, and Weebs out. Okay, seriously, I mean it this time. Weebs out.